Hey guys, it's Mark here from ETF Tracker, and in today's ETF analysis series, we are taking another request. We're going to look at Asia, ASIA, and if you couldn't guess what kind of holdings that has, well, the clue is in the name. So yeah, it is Asia, Asian technology, and it's from Beta Shares. So we're going to take a look now. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are here at ETF Tracker. Now, the good thing is that today, being Monday the 11th, I had to look, it is the day when the ASX has provided the latest data for their monthly metrics, and we consume those monthly metrics, we spin it all up, and we put it into this thing, ETF Tracker, where you can visualize it. So the ASX provides this information in PDF format as well as Excel, and you can go to get all of those Excel files and pull something together yourself, or you can go here and you can use the app that we've already pre-made for you if you find that more useful. And so we're going to go to the ETF Snapshots page to see what has gone on for Asia in the month of September, and going back a little bit further. So we've got the default here being A200. We'll take a look at Asia right now. Let's have a look at how many holdings it has. So it's got 55 holdings. It's in the Asian equity category that the ASX assigns, and it tracks a benchmark. In this case, it's the sole active Asia ex-Japan technology and internet tigers. Okay, so when we take a look at the holdings, you'll see that yes, there is no Japan here. The biggest holding is TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. Now, this one is the TSM ticker, and this one has come up a couple of times. There is a numbered ticker for Taiwan Semiconductor when it's on, I think it's the Taiwan Exchange. But when it is TSM, that is the New York Stock Exchange symbol. So it's the same company, but it can be listed in multiple areas. And as we scroll down, we see Samsung, Tencent, Alibaba, Meituan, C Limited, JD.com, Infosys, and others. Now that top 10 is 70%. So 69.7% is what makes up the top 10. The top 10 holdings. That's how much weight it has overall for that ETF. And you can see it gets much smaller here at the very tail end of that ETF. Now, it aims to track the performance of an index, that being this index up here from Sole Active, comprising of the 50 largest technology and online retail stocks in Asia ex-Japan, including technology giants such as Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, and JD.com, as we just saw. So let's go back and take a look at the performance, and you can see this downward trend, and that's been happening since the start of the year. Okay, so let's take a look at that in more detail. We can see the profile here, how that has trended over time each month. So each month the ASX and Chi-X even put out their data. Depending on the ETF where it's listed, we will get this performance data. We add all of that up, and that's what makes up this cumulative chart here. And we can see it's been in decline since the start of the year. Now, to get a more updated look at what is going on with pricing, we do have the Google Finance link. And Google Finance is great because you can not only see how it's been performing more recently, just like Yahoo Finance, but I think Google Finance give you a better way to compare those ETFs versus each other. So here I can click and compare it to the NASDAQ 100. I can compare it to this Beta Shares Global Cybersecurity, which is HACK. And here I can just go back, say 6 months, and you can see that decline. Over a 1 month period, it's flat. Over 5 days, it's actually been improving. Okay, so that's worth a look at there. So let's go back to full screen mode so we can see more details. We'll go back to that main ETF Snapshots page, and all right, so net inflows, and we can see here the latest net inflows, there hasn't been any. And so sometimes that does happen where there's just no inflows for the month. It's either it hasn't come through correctly, and I'll put it in the show notes if it hasn't, but sometimes there are these periods when there's just zero. It's just blank in terms of net inflows. So there's been as much money going in as there has been going out, or there just hasn't been any kind of new money going in. But we do see that total net inflows is almost close to the total FUM for this one. So it's not always the case. We don't have the same exact kind of data there for the FUM and the inflows sometimes with some of these ETFs, because a lot of them only go back to, say, 2017 for the data. So that's part of the reason, but also there's never really an exact kind of match there. but we can see that FUM is 653 or $654 million, and that has actually decreased. So it hit 730 back in June this year, but it has come down a little bit in terms of the FUM, and that's just due to performance. A lot of that has been. And so let's take a look at transactions. How has this traded and how is it being transacted? Here we can see that even though it's down on previous months, the number of trades has been gradually ticking up. It's been getting popular. The markets for ETFs have been getting popular. There's more ways to trade ETFs, so that really helps. But this is definitely riding that wave as one of the more popular ways to play Asia. And we can see the same thing with transaction volumes trending up, a little bit off from previous months, but it is still on that trend upwards. And the same thing for value following suit there. And then in terms of tradability, it's always important. We put the bid-ask spread on the front page. Okay, so you can see, has that been decreasing? When you see the bid-ask spread getting smaller, that means that it's becoming easier to trade. And we can see here that monthly liquidity, the latest is 11.7%. So even though it's down from whenever it started, that is abnormally quite high. It's the later periods that you want to look at and seeing how that has been trending. So it's around that plus 10% mark. So compared to how other ETFs are, that's what you want to look at to see if this is good liquidity or not. But you do want to see higher liquidity and lower spreads with ETFs, because it just means it's easier to get in and get out. If you saw the opposite, it means that you'll probably have a harder time getting the trade filled on something like that. Now, it does offer distribution yield, and we can see here in the past 3 months that the yield percentage has been increasing. That is a function of over the last 12 months, what's that average yield kind of been like? So it's not the dollars and cents, it's a different formula that the ASX provides. So make sure to read up on that. We have links in ETF Tracker as to what these definitions are all about. And what's it going to cost you? It's 0.67%. So there you go. That is a little bit higher than the average, is around 0.5, but you do want to compare that to other ETFs in your portfolio. Just because something is expensive, it doesn't mean that you need to completely ignore it. You might find that is the only way to get certain exposure that you want as an investor, and it's offering, in terms of the ETF, other factors that is just something that you need to pay for, right? But if there are ETFs where it offers you the same kind of thing but at a lower rate, then definitely worth considering. But you want to take a look at all these other things. So don't just do a blanket rule that the cheapest one, that's all we're going to get. Take a look at performance, take a look at the trades. You might see something that's the lowest fees, but then it hasn't been traded that much. It's not that popular. It's going to be a harder time for that one to survive. So it's not just a blanket kind of rule, even though lower fees are good. I mean, buying into something like this versus buying into a fund that trades something similar, ETFs are going to be cheaper. So definitely worth a look. And yeah, back to it. If you are interested in this kind of analysis, these quick snapshots, then definitely hit us up. You can use the ETF Tracker app for free. Okay, you can watch these videos for free as well. So I'm showing you here how you can go into the desktop app and do this kind of stuff yourself for any ETF. It's the same formula. If you look at all of the ETF analysis videos that we've done, whilst the data will update, we still look at things the same way. And this is merely to inform you about what is under the hood for these ETFs. So we hope you've enjoyed this one. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll speak with you soon.